Mays stuff, fuck John Fisher as always. Okay, so let's talk Willie Mays real quick, Tim. Uh, we got yeah, here we are. So um I actually in 2010, I see this I got this bobblehead. The baseball also bobbles. Um so in
Nice.
2010, my uncle works for a company that had a suite at Giants at AT&T Park. Oracle Field, excuse me, Oracle Park, whatever the hell it's called now. Um and I guess he like a vendor canceled on him. So he's like, "Hey Vince, you want to go to a game, get a Willie Mays bobblehead?" Hell yeah, I do. So that's how I ended up with this Willie Mays bobblehead. This is mine. I got to the stadium early. I um my dad and it basically turns into this whole family event. And my dad didn't get a bobblehead because he elected to take the ferry over and take his time. My uncle was like, "I want to get a bobblehead." I'm like, "I'm riding with you, let's fucking go." So so that's how I have a Willie Mays bobblehead, and it is the catch. It's the 1954 World Series where he's going over his head to make the catch. And yeah, it's a prized possession. It was hiding in my dad's house for the longest time. I went over there this past weekend and snagged it because now was the time. So
So
this
Hey,
you're
Dad, thanks for storing this bobblehead for
for
years and years.
for
I'm
yeah
gonna
for 14
swing
fucking
by
years,
and pick
liberate
it
it
up
from you.
for the podcast.
Yep,
Thanks,
that's
Pops.
you
right.
your dad said something very similar to what my stepdad said, that Willie was one of his first baseball heroes. And in fact, I had texted my stepdad after the passing, and he basically said that it was a sad day for him when he was 9 years old when he watched Willie play, and he was his hero. So he's one of the reasons why he will die a baseball fan. So Willie Mays, rest in peace, my guy.
That's right. So the picture we put up is the patch that the Giants are going to be wearing for the rest of the season. So it's it's on the front, and then we put a zoomed in close up of it. Yeah, it's just Mays 24. It's it's basically the same logo that they have that's for his retired number in the stadium. And that's I think it's a nice tribute. And obviously he passed away just before they played in Birmingham, for that game for the Negro League Classic or whatever.
Hmm.
So the news broke that he wasn't able going to be able to make it down there. Like, I guess we knew he wasn't doing too well apparently. But then, Tuesday, I think it was when he died. So, that game was on Thursday, so it turned into sort of a truly special remembrance for him. And
Yeah,
just
I liked
a magical player.
I liked MLB Network, and I think ESPN as well had some of color analysts on air, kind of talking about their own Willie Mays stories, or just talking about Negro leagues in general. And one of my favorites was the one where Derek Jeter asked Barry Bonds if he was going up against Satchel Paige, would be able to hit a home run off of him. Barry Bonds goes, "Who me? Gone, gone." He goes, "If I don't have confidence in myself, who else gonna have confidence in me?"
That's right, yeah.
I will say the internet outrage that Barry Bonds got is just bullshit.
Yeah.
Like okay, Satchel Paige, I obviously we never got to see him pitch. He was like 60 years old when he pitched for the A's,
For
Kansas
that
City.
one inning in Kansas City, yeah,
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 and they said so
65,
there's
yeah.
like a bobblehead of him in a rocking chair. Did you see this?
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
a
yeah.
bobblehead of him in a rocking chair drinking a cup of coffee, which
Mhm.
apparently that happened. That like when he
Yeah, that
came into the game, he was in a rocking chair. Like
that legit
um
happened, yeah.
so peak Barry Bonds and peak Satchel Paige. I mean, in one game, maybe not. Maybe Barry Bonds, strikes out, grounds out, whatever. But a course of a season and how many at bats, you got to think at some point the the biggest home run hitter of all time is gonna get him.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
come on.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Satchel's gonna get him a couple of times, but
Right.
Barry's, I think, gonna
I
get him
mean,
as
Barry
well. So
that line over the course of a season, a career. Like, what are we talking about here?
I think in a 3-game, like, 3-game series or whatever, assuming Satchel Paige is pitching all 3 games or whatever, I guess in 3 games, I feel fairly confident Barry's at least getting on base. Like at the
Right.
very
I
least,
mean, to
if
say
he's
that,
not hitting a home run, he's hitting a double. You
right.
know,
Barry Bonds going, 0 for 4 on 3 strikeouts and no walks. Like, that's hard for me to believe, like,
Yeah. Well, also too,
so
Satchel Paige would probably would pitch all 3 games. I mean, back then they pitched like 72 innings, and they were like, "We're good to go for tomorrow."
yeah. There's
So
some guy I read about that, he pitched like a 10 inning, like, no hitter and lost or some stupid shit.
Mhm.
uh,
Um, I'm surprised Jackson stuff.
yeah,
Uh,
Reggie Jackson's story was wild. I think I sent you guys the videos, but this was the '80s when he was with the A's, and he was talking about how obviously racism isn't gone by any means, but the level of racism that he got, I was a little bit shocked that he would be denied access to restaurants and hotels and whatnot during the '80s. And I was just thinking, like, how crazy must it have been for Reggie Jackson? I mean, granted, he had great teammates, like Raleigh Fingers and whatnot, of being able to say, "Hey, look, if my guy can't eat here, if my guy can't sleep here, we're not staying here either. Like, we're going. Like, good on you to stand up for your teammate." But I was just thinking, like, how crazy it must have been for Reggie, knowing that, like, in Oakland, there was a lot of radical movements of trying to be more welcome and inviting for all likes of people, and then you had the rest of the country. You know what I mean? Like, he could walk around and go into any restaurant he wants in Oakland, but then he can't do that if he goes to Texas or Tennessee or whatever, right? Like, God, it just must have been so brutal on Reggie Jackson, and it's just a side that I've never really honestly thought about until Tuesday when they had him on TV talking about it.
yeah, and I think that's part of the reason why it's important to like have guys on sharing these experiences and telling people about it, because it's little things like that that a lot of people aren't gonna think twice about. I'm never gonna get turned away from a restaurant. You know
Yeah,
that's never gonna happen to me.
yeah,
Uh, for
It
money,
can, it
but
can
not
if you went to Japan because there's certain restaurants they don't allow tourists.
right. No, I mean, but I don't have the money to go to Japan right now, so that's far from my mind. But like here in America, that's never going to happen to me. I don't have to worry about that. But there's a huge chunk of the population where they do have to worry about that, and it's important to just like, even if you're not part of that community, it lets you think about that a little more and just kind of make you see a fresh perspective, I guess, and that never hurts anybody to see the world through another person's eyes. It helps
I
bring us a
think
little bit closer. Yeah.
I don't want to hijack Reggie's about his personal experiences in the time. Um, I watched this interview and listened to this interview multiple times. I probably heard it a dozen times now. Um, I feel like baseball having this event, it was a great event, but I also feel like it's, you know, putting the stats of the Negro leagues into MLB and doing this event, the way Rob Manfred and the rest of these shit owners are acting, to me, as a, mixed race white guy, it comes across as we we're accepting the stats. We did this event. Everything is fine. Nothing to see here.
Right.
But
They're
what
checking a
pisses me
box.
off, it's a check box.
Mhm.
But what pisses me off is they're doing all this, I'll say fan service to a degree, right?
Lip service, I think, is a good
Lip
word for it.
service.
Yeah.
But then you're still hijacking a baseball team out of Oakland, California, which what let's be honest. Let's be honest here. What is the number one ethnic group in Oakland, California?
yeah, of course.
Like, and you're
Yeah.
saying you want the black athlete, you're saying you want more African Americans involved in baseball. but you're going to go spend millions. These teams spend millions of dollars a year to get into foreign markets, to sign other players from other countries, but you're not going to keep a team in a black community.
Mhm.
Like it,
Pro-
I'm sorry, it's
It,
bull.
it it Oakland is like the top most diverse city in the in America too. Like if you claim you're for diversity and then you're leaving the most diverse city where you have an established franchise that has a history of winning, it's yeah, I'm so pissed off
Yeah,
about the entire
it
thing.
doesn't
Yeah.
add up, dude. And uh I don't know if we talked about this last time, but Reggie, a few years, some
Yeah.
years ago, he tried to buy the Oakland A's, and he was part of this ownership group, and he was gonna go over a bid, right? Whatever the next bid, it was 10, 20, 15 million, whatever it was, overbid. And he kept going to the commissioner, Bud Sillig, and Bud was okay. I'll talk to him. Talk to the guys, and never happened. Went to John Fisher. So I just think baseball, as you said, Vince, it's lip service. But all of these current owners, I mean, we were texting about it. Cincinnati Reds owner,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Marge Schott.
Yeah, back in
Uh,
1990.
She's
Yeah.
just the sweetest lady.
the maybe she's gone, but the people who replace them, who replace these other owners, these Tigers don't change their stripes, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
So it's I feel like Reggie went and really didn't want to go, but he knew he was going to have an opportunity to talk about this.
Mhm.
And I do really appreciate his story and what he said, but I also really appreciate him calling out his friends, his teammates, and that he could not get through this without his teammates, that
Yeah.
he would not have gotten through this without his white teammates, his white manager, a white owner of the team. He wasn't going to get through this trial, through this trials and tribulations,
I
scenario.
think I think he said
Uh,
that he was an
he would have
aggressive
killed him.
kid. Yeah, he was an aggressive kid, and he didn't want to stand by the wayside, man. He wanted to stand up for himself. So
Yeah,
he's
he
like, I
said
would
he was
not have
going to.
made this.
He goes, somebody was going to say something to me, and I was going to beat somebody's ass, and they were going to tie me up into it, onto a tree.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I do appreciate the story. I do appreciate him shouting out his teammates. Raleigh Fingers got um, a lot of shout out, from Reggie Jackson.
Yeah, with
If you guys
catfish.
if anybody's watching this, if you haven't seen the interview, like go and watch it. And the panel, Alex Rodriguez and these other guys, they had no idea this was coming.
Yeah, they
I
weren't ready
mean,
for
look
that
at
at
their
all.
reaction. Like Alex Rodriguez kind of has this like
Stupid
Yeah, big.
fucking
If you watch,
not laughing in a negative way. I think it was laughing and giggling in the sense of like, I
this
can't
is
believe I
awkward.
just
I'm not
heard this.
ready. Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't I'm not trying to throw any shade against these guys. I'm a guy who will sometimes like laugh in an awkward situation of like, oh shit, I can't believe this is happening.
Right.
yeah, big. I mean, Big Poppy put down his microphone. He was like, I'm not talking through any of this. You
Mhm.
got the
Yeah.
stage, Reggie. It's all yours.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just really
All
sad
right.
that
Yeah.
he went through that and what's going on with baseball right now.